Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here with a build guide for Torchlight Infinite. Now in this build video, we're going to go over exactly kind of like what my build looked like when we managed to finish up the race event for this particular season, which is to kill Traveler 8. I do have some upgrades since then. I will talk a little bit about where the build is going to go, but for the most part, this is a pretty easy build to play, and this is a pretty easy build to get set up. It is on Rehan 1, which is the first free-to-play character, so you don't need to spend any money to play this particular build, and it is particularly strong right now. Just to give you an idea of kind of like what our DPS is looking like. This is with out our DPS pets, so you can see like right now we're getting about like 43 billion DPS, which is pretty good for just like one day of playing. And then this is with DPS pets here. We'll just flip that on. And the number goes up just a little bit. I don't really have like super insane DPS pets or anything like that. This is just what I have here. So to give you an idea kind of the play style, you just kind of run through the map, killing things, stuff explodes, and maybe we'll show some gameplay at the end. So real quick here, if you want to actually look at this in the game, all you have to do is you're going to go here to Pro Builds, and I'm going to put this code in the description down below. But basically you're looking for this first Traveler 8 SS5NA. There's a little button right here, right behind me. You enter the build code, and you're going to paste the build code right in there. And yeah, it'll give you all the information. You can look at exactly what my gear looked like at that moment. So let's talk about the gear real quick. So first off, we have Voyager's commemorative strap and pretty much the Voyager set. This is like something that you get while you're leveling up. Through the end game stuff, you'll see the option to potentially get Voyager's gear. And if you just pick those card nodes as you're going through the Nether Realm, you'll be able to get these particular pieces. It's a 6-piece set total. Really, the 6-piece doesn't really help you all that much, and so you can kind of replace that a little bit. I chose to replace the, well, I have like these 3 slots here and this ring here all kind of being replaced. The ring has on it basically just resistances, a little bit of fizz. It's not super duper great. Heavy wear drops like all over the freaking place if you go and you set it up to drop more frequently. And the way you do this is you go click on the little megaphone in the top up here, and then you're going to click on the legendary vision, change, and then you can go and set it up to drop more frequently is one of the things in here right here. And so I highly recommend this. This is a pretty darn good chest. The wording on it right now is a little bit weird. It says additional damage taken by enemies in proximity. So that increases the amount of damage enemies take, and then additional damage against enemies in proximity. That means that this is the less damage you take. So it's a little bit of defense, a little bit of damage, nice 20% multiplier. It's super duper good. If you instead you just want to use a chest that has like life and like strength or dexterity on it, that would probably give you quite a bit of damage as well. This also gives you a lot of damage reduction, and you could probably just get away with whatever chest really. This is not necessarily like mandatory for the build. And then going back into it. So I managed to get the Vortex Heart neck here. This is a drop off of one of the Watchers. There's a whole bunch of different necklaces you could use. You could just like use a neck that has a whole bunch of stats on it. Like both strength and dexterity now scales Rehan's burst, which is pretty good. Physical like skill level also boosts burst quite a bit as well. And so all of that would be fine. Focus Strike basically just gives us an additional 40% damage, which is kind of a big boost. Lastly, the last piece that I was really kind of struggling to get for a while was Fool's Crown. I thought I was going to have to buy this because I just never thought I was going to actually drop one of these, because I've never dropped one of them before, but I noticed a lot of people had them on their particular builds. I was kind of wondering what the heck's going on. Well, if you click this here and then click Drop Source, you'll notice that this drops off of Void Pirates. And so all I did was just force it so that every single map has Void Pirates, and this drops relatively frequently in tier 8. And decently, maybe like kind of rare in tier 7, and this tends to drop like just in your map at the end as you're killing all the pirates. It pops out, and yeah, I've gotten probably like 10 or 12 of these now, so it's pretty common. For our weapon, you probably want to just buy a weapon that has a high flat physical or percentage physical prefix. I have explode on this weapon. It's probably better to slam that on there as opposed to having it as the tier 0. There's no real reason to have explode as tier 0. It's always something you want to keep at tier 1. Eventually, I'll probably replace this with a mace instead and take the Vortex Heart Focus Strike and put it on the mace, and then get explode somehow on my chest, probably with a crafted chest with like stats and other stuff. And then we're going to replace this amulet here with some other things. So we go over the rest of the gear here. We just have cooldown on our candles, and we had one candle that has this physical damage to main weapon, and physical damage to main weapon is a lot of damage. This helps out a ton. And then pretty much most of our slates here have physical damage level. This is just 12% more damage to burst, which is very good. You just buy anything basically that has that, and it's a pretty big multiplier. I did have one here that was cooldown recovery, but would end up replacing that. It's really important though to remember to do your hero traits correctly. So I have rage on hit. You get a little bit of rage on hit from this, and a little bit of rage on hit from the glove, or from the 2-piece set, which is pretty nice. And then when triggering burst, you consumes 2 rage, and you have a chance to trigger burst one more time. That is just 23% multiplicative more damage, which is pretty nice. And then on your memories here, it's really important that you want to get additional melee damage for every 1 second that Berserk status lasts. This goes up to 1.5 and stacks 15 times. That's like 22% damage. That is insane. And I believe that the best other stat here is additional damage for triggered skills. So it's another 15%. It does reduce the damage of your active attack skills, but we don't care about that at all. And yeah, in terms of the main skills that we're using, I chose to replace my heal with stone skin. I think that this is like a relatively strong skill because it gives you like this huge little barrier here, gives you a bunch of armor when you activate it as well. And I just like this in general. It allows you to kind of like leech back your health and just have like this like kind of invisible shield going all of the time, which is really useful. What other weird thing in the builder is that I have Summon Thunder Spirit in here. And the only reason that this is in here is because this will not actually activate on my character because I already have a spirit. But if you don't have something in this slot, the game just continuously tells you that, hey, you have an open slot, which just really annoys me. And yeah, so the rest of the gear kind of like is looking like this right now. I've replaced my amulet with this absolutely crazy truth amulet. So we have, you know, skill levels. Each skill level is 12% more damage. Strength and dexterity both scale our burst. And so I believe it's about 10, I think it's 10 stat is about 5% multiplicative more damage. So, you know, this has like over 100 dexterity on it. So that's pretty good. All resistance is pretty hard to get. Erosion resistance, also pretty important. I replaced my belt with one that gives me additional damage taken at low mana, so less of that. Strength, cooldown recovery, and resistances on there. And we crafted up like some just nicer legendaries. We're probably going to look to replace the boots and gloves here eventually, probably for more movement speed, strength, and other things like that that help scale. And definitely craft a better axe. This axe is not very good in terms of DPS. The explode is really, really nice. But like I said, we're probably going to switch over to a mace to get that focus strike back into the build. And then we're going to do some sort of explodey chest. And yeah, another thing I did change, kind of like from my old builds, is I put preparation here on vulnerability. And I also put it on stone skin. So this should just activate every 8 seconds. And this is just really nice. It's just a nice quality of life. The only button I really need to hit is blurry steps. And here, let's go run a random map here real quick. And so here we'll go. Oh, I actually need to unlock that. All right, so we'll do an 8-0. I'll just tap a whole bunch. I don't really feel like there's a lot of things that I'm super duper scared over right now in terms of mods. But let's go in here, activate whatever, and I just start charging. And yeah, it's pretty easy. The build overall is just pretty nice, and it's just really smooth and fun. And the new motorcycle cosmetic is pretty fun as well. I think it's pretty interesting. Now, one thing to note about this that I thought was strange with the cosmetic, but they ended up turning it into a feature. It's seemingly a bug, but you notice that I have these like big green handlebars, right? Those are my wings. So whatever your back attachment becomes like a floaty thing above you. So if I like equip this thing here, right, you'll see the shield kind of stays on you. So yeah, it's kind of like a neat little way to maybe like add a little bit of fashion flair to your motorcycle MTX. And yeah, this is a new cosmetic, by the way, that you have to get off of one of the pool banners. You can't directly buy it, unfortunately. And it costs me about like $50, I think. And the reason for that is because there are like 3 other things on the banner and you will always pull them first. Well, unless you get incredibly lucky, because apparently the motorcycle has a 2% chance of coming off of the, you know, guaranteed part of the banner. So it's just 4 pulls, which is, you know, not that horrible. I've definitely paid more for cosmetics in other games, and I really like Savage Charge. So, you know, to me, this was a pretty good buy. Ooh, missed one almost. But as you can see, the build's pretty quick and, you know, explode stuff. And then I'll show you the boss after this for the region. Let's come back for the loot there. Pick up everything. And so this is just basically how I farm my my crowns, by the way. They just pop off of the pirates here at the end. And so once this thing finishes, I think there's like maybe like a 1 in 10 chance that you get a crown, it feels like. All right, there you go. And no crown that time. And let's just show the boss here. This is 8-0, remember, so it's, you know, not really pushing the limits here, but I'm kind of limited on which maps I have still at this point. But as you can see, the boss evaporates, and so it's pretty good. Let me know if you guys think, what you guys think in the comments down below. I'll leave a link to the pro build thing, which you can just, like I said, you're just going to post the code directly in here. You want to make sure there's no space at the end of it. If it says you have an illegal code, I'll put that in there. I will put a link to the max roll version of the build as it looks right now. And I'll even put a link to my current loot filter. Now, I want to warn you that this loot filter is extremely strict and might hide some stuff that you're looking for. And I do have some other things kind of highlighted because I want to try out some other builds right now. But like, I'm guaranteeing to try to like show all of the ultimate uniques. I'm showing things like truth as well. All of the items that I think that are pretty good for the build, like praise for injury, or like Ralph's could potentially be interesting, are highlighted in purple. And then I have some other stuff that I'm working on, so you can like hide the blue if you want. And yeah, hopefully this video helped you out. You can just grab the code for the filter as well in the description below. See you again soon. How about the stream? It's a lot of fun.